Former Australia captain Ricky Ponting responded to incidents like cultural issue and ball tampering that created a stir in the cricketing world. During a press conference, Ponting said,
"We as Australians, we like to play the game hard, we like to play the game fair, and our fans expect that Australian players play that way. And I think the reaction back in Australia was as big as it was because I think the Australian public felt that the Australian players hadn't played the game in a fair way. So I think that's why their reaction was as big as it was. As I said, it seems it's like it's coming to an end, and that's a good thing for the game's sake. It's a good thing for the players' sake as well, that they can try and get away from it all now, as hard as that's going to be for them. But it's also, you know, a good thing for cricket in Australia as well, that, you know, now that that test series is over, the guys have got a few weeks to get away from it all and then start rebuilding, you know, what has sort of collapsed for them over the last couple of weeks. The cultural issue for me is really a really interesting thing, because if you wind the clock back just a couple of months when Australia won the Ashes like they did, there was no talk about cultural problems or issues whatsoever. So, you know, I think a lot of the time these cultural things can be blown out of proportion. They can be spoken about a lot when the reality inside the dressing room is completely different than what is actually spoken about all the time. And I honestly feel on this occasion that the cultural stuff that's been spoken about has probably been blown out of proportion to a certain degree.
He further went on to say that a 12-month ban was a very severe ban.
There's a very big picture there for the World Game's sake, and Cricket Australia, I think, have reacted to what the World Game pretty much demanded. The World Game and the Australian public demanded that these players were dealt with and treated in a certain way. Now, it would appear that, you know, 12 months bans, that would appear to be a very severe ban. If you think back to what the ICC sanction was, the ICC sanction was for one game only on Steve Smith and nothing for the other two. So you can understand that 9 months for Bancroft and 12 months for the other guys is a vast gap or a vast difference between what the ICC deemed fair.
IENS report.